can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Welcome in, everybody. Mekwitmas.
That's right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Seasonal situations is what we're calling this today's show. And how to say no without breaking a heart, yours or theirs. That's just kind of, this is that time of year where you get, if you are blessed to be invited to things, it is a wonderful thing. Let me first start with gratitude. If you have someone to invite you somewhere, that's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a time when you have to know your limits and know the things that you actually have a choice of what you want to do.
Right.
There's just some things. Do you ever feel the pressure this time of year? I've watched you this year be able to say no and not hurt anyone's feelings. And I
never
think
feel
that's
pressure, Devon.
Huh?
I never feel pressure.
You don't?
Never. I am superhuman like that. I never feel pressure. Girl. Girl.
No, let's be real.
Yes, let's be real. And yes, I think we all have pressure. I think that it gets magnified because the reality of our actual energy levels around the holidays a spotlight is on them. So yeah, I think everybody gets pressured. I get pressured. I have all sorts of pressure going on in life from time to time, but it really is creating a way. It's not being better than anyone. It's not being, I just know everything. It's just knowing truthfully what you can control in that moment and allowing yourself as best you can to go back to what I call the present moment. And people will say, well, golly, I've got all these things to do and I got to make all this stuff and I got to be here and I got to be there and and this is the present moment and it's exhausting. And I'm like, no. The present moment is breathing in and breathing out. The present moment is I feel the weight of my body on this chair. The present moment is I feel the texture of the clothes that I'm wearing. The present moment
I felt the texture of my
The present moment is right here, right now. Not existential, which is like the things that are the to-dos and the things that are outside that circle. It is this. And nothing outside of this, when you are in the present moment, matters. Like, yes, the present moment could be, I'm having a procedure, but it also is right now in this moment, I'm not having the procedure. I'm sitting here, grounding.
Right. It's a very, very interesting thing as I start looking at, okay, I get my little calendar out because I have my little Dollar Tree calendar as we've discussed it, and I fill up the little squares. And then I look at those squares all filled up and I start getting a tightness in my chest and I start going, I can't do all this. And you always say you can, you just choose not to. Well, honestly, I'm at a point now physically where I can't do all of the things I put in the squares. And that's where I have to start being very, very honest with myself. And by the way, Corinne has joined us and Candy has joined us and Jill. I love my friend Jill. Jill has taught me a lot this year. Jill has had she was one of those, I'll do everything for everybody. Oh, Amy just joined us as well. And then Jill ended up in the hospital with a heart attack. And it's amazing how you learn to say no when you physically say, you know what? Guess what? I cannot do all the things that I have on my list.
Right. The reason that I say, when I say you can, but you just choose not to, that's not coming from a place of you can do it. Just go ahead and do it. It's coming from a place of we tell ourselves all the time, I'm so exhausted. I can't do this anymore. And then we do it again. And then I'm so exhausted. I can't do this anymore. And then we do it again. So we can do it. You're empowering yourself by choosing not to do it. You're empowering yourself by prioritizing yourself.
And Jill says, no is my new favorite word. And I've been working on no for years now. My a friend of mine, Steve, was teasing me. He said, I'm going to help you enforce your word of the year. Because every year I have a word of the year. And 2 years ago, my word was no. And, but
so I would encourage people to look at what's the sticking, what's the little burrs around the no, because it, it stands to reason that if you tell someone, I appreciate you asking, but I'm not going to be able to do that right now, or I appreciate you thinking about me, but I'll pass this time. Those are very gentle ways of saying no. A lot of times people think that they have to no has to be like, I'm not doing it. It's just like, hang on a minute. Like, why are you getting so shook? Like, it's not, you might have people in your life that are hard pressed to take no for an answer, but that's an invitation and an opportunity for you to work on your boundaries with yourself and with other people. And if you get hung up in the, well, I just feel so bad. If I don't do this for them, I feel so bad. Well, that's on you. You need to look at that. Like, you have to look at, there's some hard, there's challenges and hard decisions that happen in life. And sometimes you just have to look at what is your personal attachment to it.
Candy is unable to go to some Christmas parties, and she wants to say yes, and she can't. There are a lot of, that's the thing I said when I prefaced it when I started. We are blessed if we get asked. We are blessed if we are getting asked. That's beyond what we're talking about. We have our gratitude that we're part of the people being asked to do things. That's great. But we've got Elizabeth just joined us, by the way. I have difficulty, and you and I actually, and I'm just going to put this right out there. You and I had something, and you asked me if I wanted to stay within the commitment and continue to do something. It's the hardest thing in the world for me to say, no, I think I need to not do that. And you said, okay, why was that so hard? We might need to work on that. And it's true, because I never want to let someone down, because I've made a commitment. I will stick by it if it kills me.
But also it's presumptuous to think that you're letting someone down. Like it's
this is on my template, but just if this resonates with you, put that in your box and think about it. If you are worried about letting someone down, now let's go into that one more time.
Like if the thing is, and let's just make a hypothetical. Let's just say, I don't go to hockey games, but let's say I bought season tickets to the hockey game, and there was a game coming up, and you had said for 3 months you wanted to go to that game, couldn't wait to go to that game. So I reserved that spot for you, only you. Then something comes up. Now I'm not talking about, no, I just got up and I just am like, nah, I don't want to do it today. Or something better came along. I'm saying something you just really, you're overwhelmed. You're just like, I am overwhelmed. I'm tapped out energetically. Being able to say, you know what, if I reach out and say, hey, Devon, that game is Saturday night, looking forward to going, can't wait to see you. And this is Wednesday. And you're like, oof, I'm feeling it. What is the holding for you going, you know what, Teri, I am tapped out energetically, and I think I'm going to have to pass. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry I've hurt your feelings so much, or you're so upset with me. No, someone that really has your best interest at heart is going to go, girl, take care of yourself. Because if you don't show up for yourself, you're not going to show up for anybody else. So take care of yourself. And furthermore, I don't want you hanging out. I mean, I would tell you this, I don't want you hanging out with me if you ain't got good energy, so like keep that stuff at home. But But what that means is that's a a funny kind of off-put way of saying, I want you to take care of yourself. Because if you're showing up just to show up, to be present, to do something with someone, then, and you're not enjoying it, then that energy is going to emanate out. And they're going to be going, are you okay? Do you feel okay? And then you're going to have shame kick in. You know, who needs all that? Just speak what you need. And also understand that whether you are attending or you're not attending, or you can attend or you can't attend, we put ourselves in situations. So like, we know that if our calendar is full, you know, it's one thing to say, oh, I love a full calendar. I don't want any squares, not with something in it. But you also have to know counterintuitively that a full calendar is going to bring stress. It doesn't mean organization all the time. It can mean stress.
Ooh, that's so good. Hey, Angie just joined us. Elizabeth's in agreement with you. Absolutely. If we need practice doing this, it's always helpful to me to practice with people I love and who love me. Oh, that's huge. And Jill says, it's like riding a bike. The more you learn to put yourself first, the easier it is to pedal.
Right.
And that's true. Angie says, I have a hard time putting myself first. But in the last couple of years, I'm doing better about it. I think as we get older, Angie, we start learning that the world doesn't come to an end when we say no. I know what mine's years and years and years and years ago, young Kurt, you know, and then I mean, okay, full disclosure. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but I was the tall girl in school who was very smart and I didn't get invited to the reindeer games. So when I got out, and because of my job or whatever, I started getting invited to the reindeer games by the cool girls. I didn't want to let them down. And when I told them no, because I had to be on the air, I had to be up at 4:00 in the morning, I had to start saying no. And I said no in, I think, once or twice. And then pretty soon I was no longer part of the reindeer games. One, they weren't my friends, or they wouldn't have done that. But in my heart, I put that in there as if I say no, I won't get invited again. Mm-hmm. So I got to make myself do it. And I thought to myself, you know, every single one of those particular people who was in that group, they could call out sick the next day. They could just decide not to go in. You know, I lived paycheck to paycheck. They had a trust fund or whatever. It was a very different situation for me to say no than for them to say no. And then I just as I've gotten older, and the other day when you asked me that, I did some work. Mm-hmm. And I said, why is it hard to say no to somebody when they ask me to do something? It's because I have that fear I will not be asked again. Mm-hmm. And then you have pointed out many times, is like, well, then you need better friends. Now mm-hmm. I've got the great friends. Real friends will care about you doing what is best for you. Amen. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in the, you know, we had all gotten together for a Friendsgiving, and then a couple of days later, someone reached out to me and said, oh, I can't wait to see you at this other event that we're doing at the end of the week. And I was like, I won't be there, you know. And I just said, you know, I said, I won't be there at that one, but I'll see you guys at this other thing. And they were like, oh, no, you got to be there. You got to be there. And I was like, no doubt. Like, you'll be fine. I'm not going to be there, you know. And I know you're going to have a blast. Turns out I wasn't there. And guess what? People had a blast. It had nothing to do with me. It's not, it truly is. Elizabeth says it, you know, when you have a circle of people who do genuinely have your, and not always, it's not their responsibility to have your best interest at heart. It's our responsibility to do that. But when you say, no, thank you, or I can't make it this time, or, you know, something has come up, and you are a person of integrity with your word, then people don't assume that you're just sitting home watching the Gilmore Girls. They really do know that something has come up. And maybe it's an emotional or a mental, or maybe it's a physical thing that has come up, you know.
Right.
And there's no judgment around that. The issue is finding out where you were taught that no was not okay. And I'll tell you where we were taught. A lot of us were taught that in childhood, because one of the very first words that we as toddlers learn is no.
Wow.
Think about it. And why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because as our brain is forming, we're touching things we shouldn't be touching because somebody doesn't want us to touch them. I mean, it's not like as a toddler, you're going to climb up and jump on top of a stove, but you're touching an ornament or you're touching something on a table. No, no, no. The brain hears it. The brain repeats it. Then what happens is we get into a phase. Well, first you're saying no as a toddler and it's cute, right? Oh, look, let me videotape my baby saying no and put him on Instagram. It'll go viral. This is so cute.
Jill just had the light bulb like I did with the little suitcase last week. It's like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we get older, 5, 6 years old, you say no, it's not acceptable. You're being bossy, you're being smart. You think you're this, you're doing this. You don't talk to adults that way. Mm-hmm. So then it's reframed in our brain that no is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move forward, and as an adult, no becomes not okay. Unless we deliver it with some spicy, saucy with it. Because then it makes us feel like if I throw it out there and I'm forceful with it, then people will go, oh, they really mean it. But you can say no and say it very calmly and very graciously and still not,
Yeah. Amy said, I flexed my no muscles hugely over Thanksgiving. It felt amazing for once, and it does get easier the more you make it a habit for your self-kindness. Perfect, Teri. Candy, it says, relating to the reindeer games, trying to make up for being unpopular at school, 25 years of trying too hard in friendships for that reason. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you just have to, it's like Teri says, you trace it back to the little that is scared of saying no. Where were your feelings hurt? Where are the feelings that associate? That's what we're talking about. Doing the work and figuring that out. Okay, let's open up the other can of worms because we kind of went there with Amy. Thanksgiving usually means family. The family has invited you to Christmas. It's not a good time for you. It's too expensive. You just have trouble financially making all of those things work. You just don't want to. There are a lot of things in the box of seeing family during the holidays. There are great movies that all year that talk about how great it is to be home. And then there are those. I saw one the other day that just made me laugh so much because it was so funny, because the mother was very I'm the one with the thing, and she made everybody put their cell phones and their keys in a lockbox while they were there. And I thought, if a family has to make you do that to stay, probably we need to look at this family dynamic. I go, but and I thought to myself, I started, and I go, well, I kind of came from a little bit of that, not a lockbox, but it's just, when we feel like we have that family dynamic that's so strong that it's hard to say no.
But is it physically hard to say no? Or do we make it hard with the attachments that we have around it?
Of course, it's the attachments. That's the deal. Yeah.
Let me say, because, you would talk to somebody on the phone and it can be like, oh, family get together. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Da, da, da. You can hang that phone up. Not you personally, but we can hang the phone up and be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. I would just, no, I don't want to be there. I don't want to, no. So we can say no. We can say no all the time. In fact, I would argue that we are actually pretty darn good at saying no, because every time we say yes to something that we want to say no to, we've said no to ourselves.
Did y'all hear that? Did you hear the sound of the microphone going?
Because but I got a tiny little Sharpie.
That's the thing. Oh my gosh, that is so. You know that Bob Dylan song, you're going to serve somebody. It might be the devil, it might be the Lord, but you're going to serve somebody. You're going to say no to somebody. It might be your family or your friends, or it might be you.
Right. And here's the thing, you can
Jill
go
said,
to,
hair on the back of my neck stood up. I know.
you can go to family functions and, maybe you don't take a ton of gifts,
Mm-hmm.
you can still, you have to decide if you're going to allow your no to keep you from actually being around people that you enjoy, because you're strapped financially, or you don't feel like you got something you can wear, or you don't, whatever, or are you going to go and be in that love? If there's love there to be had, are you going to let yourself go and be in that love? And it'll change from moment to moment. But, when you get in that place of, well, I'm just not going to do it because, I'm not this, or I'm not that, or okay, those are all reasons you're giving yourself not to do it. They have nothing to do with your family. And you'll end up not doing it, and then shaming yourself for not doing it. And then the next time you need to say no, you'll say yes because you don't want to feel bad. And either way, you're betraying yourself.
Yeah. Corinne says, when someone wouldn't accept my no and they forced the issue, they didn't like my why even more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love it. And Lisa joins us.
Hey,
We are so
Lisa.
glad that you're here. Amy's giving us an amen, and Elizabeth's laughing, and Corinne's giving you a high five. Okay. Well, this is our group, and I know that everybody that comes to this group, we say yes to a lot. And one of the things that I am learning from everybody here is that we are all in our season of learning to say yes to ourselves. And whether it's moms or dads or people who are always there for everybody, we bring that. And this time of year, it kind of comes to a head. But this is my year. I'm determined that I'm going to learn a little bit better how to speak the truth in love.
And that's what it's about. Our culture has set up this format where everything is aggressive.
Yeah.
Everything is aggressive.
Mhm.
I'll show you. And I just look at those people and I'm just like, damn, it must suck to be you. I'm not saying life is easy. I'm not saying life is easy, and I'm not saying life is hard, because the truth of it is life is just life. Life
Mhm.
is unfolding. And with each corner that it unfolds, there is something new that we might see as a challenge, and a challenge by any other name is an opportunity. And so if you are feeling uncomfortable about family gatherings or friend gatherings, or not having something to wear, or not feeling like you're popular, or not feeling like, all of these things that get in our head and start rattling the can across the bars, and just like dishevel you emotionally, you have to bring yourself back to the present moment and ask yourself, what is it that I want? Do you want your peace of mind, your rest, your relaxation? Or do you want to feel important? And if you want to feel important, then what's behind that importance? What is that
Mm.
to you?
Exactly.
We all want to
Man.
feel loved, but you can feel love sitting home in your comfy cozies and drinking some hot chocolate that you made and watching something. Yeah, you might be, goes back to what we talked about last week. You might be alone in that one situation or in that experience, but you're not lonely because you're enjoying what you're doing.
Right. Exactly. Elizabeth says, I default to don't make me explain why. My answer is no. I usually know they don't want to hear the why, and because no is my answer, that should be good enough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corinne says, you nailed my DIL's mother, Teri, daughter-in-law's mother, Teri. It must suck to be her.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
well, and there's a little behind all of those. There's a little behind why we don't want to say no. There's a little why people are angry and always, pointing a finger and always, I mean, I know people who, when the holidays come around, they go one extreme to the other. Either they are complete full on Grinch, bah humbugging it. I ain't got nothing for nobody. Same way they do at Halloween, turn the lights out and close the door up and just sit in the dark because they don't want to keep living life.
Mm-hmm.
Life is to be lived.
She's just evil.
Life is to be lived. So,
mm-hmm.
you choose, because I can guarantee you, again, as someone who sits with individuals when they are taking their last breaths, there is not too many people that I have sat with in the last few months of their lives when I have consulted with them and counseled with them that they have said, wow, I wish I'd have been just an asshole a little bit more. Not one of them.
Not one.
Not one of them, including my dad. Not one of them.
Mm-hmm. So. Wow. Well, as we go into these days, there's a way to say no, and a soft answer turneth away wrath. A soft no is easy, and be able to say your thing. And then if people just won't accept it or they turn against you for that, then examine that. Examine if they are your friends to begin with, because I just like we have discussed here, a real friend is what you want, and a real friend will not judge you if you need to say no.
And also, you have to know what you have to be in a good balanced place to know the no on that, because if you're not, say you've been out of sorts. You've had, you've been a little situationally depressed, or you've had something happen and you're just not feeling great. And a friend comes along and says, hey, let's go grab a coffee, or hey, I want to come over and bring you dinner, or hey, and if you get in a place where you're like, no, you have to really look at why you're saying no. Are you saying no so you can stay in the pity party?
Mm-hmm.
Because then what will happen, I can assure you what will happen is your friends will say, let me. And you'll say, no. And then they'll stop asking. And then you'll get up one day and go, nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. And it's like, hang on a minute. You sit here and said a damn near bucket of no's. And now you want to get mad because nobody's asking you anymore. We've got to lean into, if you genuinely don't have the energy to do it, it's okay to say, you know what, my battery is low, sis. I'm not in the space to do that, but I appreciate you asking me and keep me on the list for the next time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be no, well, why don't you want to? I said no, and it's like, dang, hang on a minute, Cujo. Like, we don't have to get all crazy with it. Like, it's just, we don't have to bark at people.
No. This is absolutely Devon. When I know what I need and am upfront about it, my real friends will be understanding. We might give each other's friendly banter, but we really do get it. And that's true. Mm-hmm. And that's true. I will say that if you are stuck in your no, now this is the last thing, but I want to bring it up real quick. If you are stuck in your no, examine that. That's what you're talking about, is because for a very long time, for several times, in the last few years, I've been stuck in my no. And when I finally started saying yes to some things, I really loved it.
Mm-hmm. People do that during the holiday. They'll say no to everything. No, I don't want to go to that party. No, I don't want to go to this. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do any of this. I'm not going to do any of it. I'm not going to do any of it. And so examine, like, why are you not wanting to be around people who you enjoy? And if it is truly I just don't feel like it, I just want to crawl under the bed. I don't even want to get in the bed. I want to crawl under the bed. I want people to leave me alone. Then maybe you need to seek professional help. I don't say that because I think that is a huge thing, but I say it because sometimes we aren't given permission to regulate and say no, so we take it to one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
And so
That's what
just
I'm going for.
having things checked out to make sure that it's all okay,
Mm-hmm. And if physically you have gone through something, oh, here we go. I know Jill's going to open this too. I recently had to rescind an invite to a wedding for medical reasons. I had fear of missing out that entire day. I felt badly that I was letting the bride and groom down. A week later, I found out that half of the attendees got sick with COVID. It did not make me feel good that I said no, but I was so glad I listened to my gut.
Mm-hmm.
See,
And here's the thing, Jill, on that, like I said to Devon earlier, like we presume that we are letting people down. Like I had to rescind an invitation one time to a wedding, and I mean this has been a couple of years ago, and I was all up in my feelings about it. Oh, I can't believe I did this. Oh, I'm not a good friend. Oh, Lordy mercy. Oh, Lordy mercy. I can guarantee you that on these two beautiful souls' wedding day, the last damn thing they were worrying about is, well, we should just postpone this whole thing because Teri ain't here. Now, if I was officiating it, that might be a different thing. But, I did the same thing this year. Talk about letting people down. I did the same thing this year. I was just sharing this with a client this morning. Did the same thing this year with my daughter with a Christmas tree because I'm in transition of where I'm going to settle next. I said, right? I purchased and hey, all you folks that like artificial trees, don't be throwing your hate bombs my way. But I have always purchased a live tree or a cut tree. And this is the first year since my daughter's been born in 30 years that I actually purchased an artificial tree. Now I have told her that she can put it in her house or on her patio or wherever she wants to put it next year. But my energy for going out, I assessed going out, getting a tree, the maintenance it was going to have on a tree, all the space, everything, all of that. And I said, not this year. Not doing it this year. And so I sent her a picture of the tree and we'll decorate it when she gets home. And, and I said, look, I don't want to disappoint you, but it's an artificial tree this year. And I know I've broken tradition. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, in my heart, I was crushed. I felt like the heel or what was underneath the heel of the biggest heel out there. Right. And the reply that I got back from her was so sweet. And it was like, Mom, we'll resume next year as per usual with our fabulous live Christmas tree. And it's not about the tree. It's not about the tree. And so take that with you when you go. It's not about having to tell someone you're doing things differently or it's a no. It's about the reception that you get back from that person. And if that person gets you and knows that it, like most of the time, somebody you're in your friend circles, and Elizabeth, you'll know this because you've got a huge, and I'm not saying nobody else has a huge circle, but I know Elizabeth's one of them movers and shakers, and she's out there flitting around all over the place. See, there she is with comment. But when you're able to say no, and it's with someone that gets you, they oftentimes know how hard it was for you to say no. And so they don't push back.
Yeah. Elizabeth says some years I don't even decorate for Christmas because work and living life gets in the way too much. Corinne says, I don't decorate anymore. Too much trouble for just me. Yeah, I get that. And, I used to decorate. I had trees in every bedroom. I had trees everywhere. I was just, Christmas threw up in my house. And I just haven't felt like it in the past few years. And my cats are very disappointed. They don't have anything to climb and knock the balls down. And my dogs are very upset that they don't get to pull and chew all the stuff apart. But it's okay. Candy said she's had with medical issues, fear of missing out relating there. And that there are a lot of us relating on this topic. And I don't know, I just pull this topic out of the thing just because you and I had that conversation this week about the difficulty saying no. And I did some work. So I thought maybe other people might experience similar things. And with all the people watching, I am seeing I am not alone.
And it is the difficulty that we create. Because like right now, just say no, thank you. I appreciate that. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's easy to say no. It's the attachments we have with it.
Because it's the attachment.
It's the attachments.
Corinne says, just wait until I get to Georgia next year. All decorations, all the time. Yeehaw.
There you go. There you go. You know.
Jill said, great topic. One of those topics that I need a review on yearly. Well, hopefully we'll still be here doing this every day, every Wednesday, which is when we are here. Tonight, we are going to be at Teri's office, stuffing stockings to give to our community in need. And if you want to meet us at 6:00 tonight, you can still do that. You can go to Transcending Turbulence, send an email, and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Or actually, don't send an email, because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to look at those emails very much. So just text me, 615-513-2700. Or go to teripew.com and look at the address and show up. But we have 100 stockings. We have enough for everyone, depending on how many people show up, to take 1, 2, or 3 with them. And we're going to, stuff stockings, have some community, have some, laughter, eat some yummy food. And then everybody's going to leave with a full belly, a full heart, and an arm full of stockings that they then can hand out to other people that might be in need. And there'll be some dog stockings too. So we've got 7 of those that we'll take, because
that's who we are.
Puppies need stuff too.
Well, y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Absolutely. And until then, examine your no. Know that you don't have to lay a no down with a sledgehammer. You can lay it down with a feather. And if the person doesn't listen, then maybe you have to hit them with a no sledgehammer. That's up to you. And, start examining why it's hard to say no. And the people that you're saying no to, are they receptive to that or not? And if they aren't, then maybe we need to educate them on how you need to be treated. And if they are receptive, then good on you for having those folks in your circle. And as always, we appreciate you spending your time and your energy with us, and choosing to spend your 12 o'clock hour wherever it falls in the world map. And until we see you next Wednesday, be well and increase your peace. See ya.